On October 4th, a recording project will be released that will serve as a profound tribute to the resiliency and spirit of the Ukrainian people. Called Prayer for Ukraine, this CD features the fabulous Vivere String Quartet performing music by Ukrainian composers. The CD explores both Ukraine's history as well as the essence of the people, their sorrows, joys, triumphs, and the harrowing destruction and devastating loss caused by the current war in Ukraine. All proceeds from this disc will go towards the Revived Soldiers Ukraine, which helps to support the medical rehabilitation of Ukrainian soldiers. The disc features gorgeous and outstanding music. There is music that was composed amidst the war by the composer and cellist Zoltan Almashi. There's also music composed by the celebrated, much lauded Ukrainian composer Hanna Haverlitz, a composer who died in the first days of the war as a direct result of not being able to receive proper medical care. The recording also highlights a wonderful string quartet written by Vasil Bavinsky, who survived the Soviet gulags of post-World War II USSR to become one of Ukraine's most lauded composers. The Vivre Quartet is an internationally acclaimed Ukrainian ensemble that brings the world music of contemporary Ukrainian composers, as well as the masterworks of the classical chamber music tradition and everything in between. Founded in 2010 by students of the Lviv National Music Academy, the quartet has gone on to win numerous prizes around Ukraine and is making a name for themselves on the world stage. The members of the quartet are violinists Anna Bura, Dmitro Lisko, violist Ustrom Zhuk, and cellist Dmitro Nikolaev. And joining me here over Zoom to talk about their album, Prayer for Ukraine, I am joined by Vivre Quartet violinist Anna Bura. Hi, Anna. Nice to meet you here over Zoom.
Hi, nice to meet you too, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Before we get to the disc, which is fantastic, I want to start out by asking about the quartet. Can you go back to the beginning? How did the four of you decide to come together and form a string quartet? And was highlighting Ukrainian music always part of the quartet's mandate right from the beginning?
Well, the story has become a long time ago. Actually, Dmitro Lesko and Dmitro Nikolaev, they were first who formed the quartet back in 2010, I guess. And I joined guys in 2018
Okay.
already. So they have the story. Always we tried to include Ukrainian pieces in our programs, just to present it to the audience, especially in Europe. And we did some concerts in the USA, and so it will always was our point of interest to present some pieces to the public. Because not every time you can play all concert with Ukrainian music.
Mm-hmm.
We always try just to put some classical world pieces and with Ukrainian music, just to get people to know this music.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you talk about the Prayer for Ukraine project? How did it come about? And where did the rehearsals happen? Were they done in the midst of the war? Can you talk about the rehearsal process? How did that work?
Oh, so our rehearsal process, we were lucky to have at Stanford University. So prior to the recording, we did the chamber music seminar at Stanford University. So that
Mm.
happened at that place. Yes, because we were not able to meet all together in Ukraine, so
Mm.
we had to do this
Mm.
in the
Yeah.
USA.
Yeah, and from what I understand, the the trip to the States was a saga on itself. Can you talk about that? My understanding is the quartet went to Poland, and then from Poland you made your way to the States. Is that right?
Yes, the trip was quite tricky because obviously the airspace for civilian flights is closed in Ukraine. So basically, we had to go to Poland to get a flight. But firstly, we had to go to Poland to get a visa. The US
Uh,
visa is also not possible to get the US visa in Ukraine for now. So yes, so it was two trips to Poland, one to Krakow and back to Lviv. So when we got a visa, and second to Warsaw, and to get a flight to the US. Yes, and also for each trip, for a man, you need to get a special permission from government. So if they're allowed to leave a country and for the specific time, and then they have to come back. Yes.
Mm-hmm. The CD is just great. It starts out with a track called Maria City, Mariupol. It was composed by Zoltan Almashi. Can you talk about him? And by reading the booklet, the backstory behind this piece is incredible. Can you talk about that piece a bit?
It was the first piece we choose for a CD, actually. It represents all the time we have in Ukraine now. It's like what we feel and what we would like to express and what we want to say to the world. So all these things are in one piece written by Zoltan Almashi. He lives in Kiev now. Yes, actually, Maria City piece is dedicated to the city of Mariupol, which was completely destroyed in 2022.
I was listening to it when I was obviously listening to the disc, and one of the things that struck me about it is it starts out with this sort of cantoral like melody in the beginning, and then in the middle, there's this really driving and aggressive middle section. Can you talk about that middle section? What does it mean? And then what happens after that sort of driving middle section? We get sort of the same themes, but they're never quite the same. Is that right? What is the significance of that middle section?
Yes. So for us, this middle section, it's like military part because the very beginning, the opening, so you might hear like separate voices of people, and so this middle section is like military attack.
Mm-hmm.
Mariupol was absolutely, it was in siege for many days in a row, and so it was constantly shelled and bombed. So for us, this middle section represents those air raid attacks and bombing, others thing like that. And this middle section ends with a high note in first violin. And so it's like after explosion, you can hear anything but this noise. So, and after that, it's like epilogue and requiem for all victims. After that part, so it's really not. It's hard to play every time this piece you play, and you're thinking of people and what they went through at that time, and it's really emotionally hard piece, but it's really important to talk about these things.
And yet it's beautiful and moving at the same time. Like it's a fantastic piece. There's another piece on the CD called Carpathian Song. My understanding it was written in 2020, but it's not just one song. There's three melodies in that piece, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. And
yes,
can you talk like the Carpathian? I was doing some reading about the Carpathian Mountains, and it's one of those parts of Europe where the borders keep shifting, but yet the people who live there trade folk songs all the time. And so it's sort of can you talk about that a bit?
Yes. We wanted to represent also a folk piece in our city because Ukrainian culture is really rich and beautiful and nice, but we have like folk music is a big part of our culture. That's why we picked also Carpathian song, and also there are a lot of folk melodies in Vivere String Quartet. Yes.
Yeah, the Vivere String Quartet, it's totally delightful. And when I was reading, it was meant for student players. Apparently, he was a music teacher at the Lysenko Music Institute in Lviv, right? Can you talk about that quartet and why do you think it was written for student string players?
It's written for young people. I'm not sure it's written for students. It's like dedicated to young people and like written for youth.
Hmm.
Youth. I'm
Yeah,
not sure. Sorry,
yeah, yeah,
sorry.
yeah. That's right.
My
Yeah.
English is not that good. Yes, and this quartet is really popular in Ukraine. So a lot of musicians perform it. It's like with classical piece in Ukraine. And yes, we also wanted to represent Barvinsky as a legendary Ukrainian composer.
Yeah, yeah.
And we enjoy playing. And also his prayer is really beautiful.
Yeah.
His prayer for Ukraine.
The string quartet, when I was listening to it, it had all these like as you say, these it has a very folksy quality to it. And
Mm-hmm.
then the prayer, like I was reading, he apparently he was copying it from memory, like after he got out of prison. Is that right? Is that how that piece
Yes,
came
he
about?
was in prison for 10 years and all his music was burned basically. And after he was released, like for last 5 years of his life, he was trying to write his music from memory. And I
Mm-hmm.
suppose the prayer was also there. I'm not sure about string quartet, but also it's possible because string quartet was written in 1930s and he was imprisoned, I guess, in 1940s.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
probably the string quartet also was written from memory after that.
yeah. After he got out. Uh, then finally on the disc, you've got these two wonderful pieces by Hannah. Help me out with the pronunciation here. Hannah
Havralet,
Havelitz. Yeah,
Havralet, yes,
Havelitz.
exactly.
Can you talk about her? And were you ever introduced to her? She's got a sort of a tragic story. Have you met her? Can you talk about her a little bit?
I've met her a few times. We were not close enough, so like friends, but she's a famous composer in Ukraine, and she has a close connection to my hometown, Lviv. She was studying in Lviv National Academy first, and yes, her music is really emotional and very religious. And so it was tragically when Hannah passed away. So it was first days of full scale invasion, and it was a completely chaos around the country, and so basically all hospitals were occupied and all emergency cars emergency. So yes,
Mm,
it was time for everyone.
yeah, yeah. The two pieces on the disc are called To Marry and Expressions. Uh, they're both just stunners. To Marry has this sort of hymn-like quality to it, which makes sense. And Expressions has a sort of hypnotic and sort of minimal quality to it. When the quartet was learning her music, what did you like about it? And did you have to approach the two pieces differently when you were learning them?
Differently, of course, yeah, because like they are completely different by character and by music. I like what I like about performing composers of our time, that you can experiment with sound, with tempos. You can find your way to express this music. We were able to be in touch with Zoltan Almashi. It was really also helpful and nice. We wanted to express his vision, but also we were able to express our vision of this piece. And I'm sorry we were not able to play for Hannah Haverletz when she was alive, but we were trying to put all our soul in this piece. And yes, expressions, they're really interesting in the way she wrote this piece, and also in the way that every musician can put his own emotion in this piece. And it's really, really, really interesting to work on it. Also, as a group, you can look for different colors and harmonies. It was really interesting to play this music.
Yeah, both pieces are beautiful. The CD Prayer for Ukraine is fantastic. All the proceeds from the sale of the disc go towards Revived Soldiers Ukraine. Can you talk about the importance of that organization?
For us, it was really important to donate all proceeds to organization that helps Ukrainian soldiers. So we think we have to, all Ukrainians, we have to be thankful, and for sure we cannot be thankful enough to people who are fighting for our freedom and for our ability to do what we love and what we can do. So just to still be alive. And that's why we decided to donate all proceeds to Revived Soldiers of Ukraine. They're doing a lot of work to help our soldiers to be able to walk again and to stand on their feet, if I may say so. Yeah, just to get back to life as fast as they can.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was our point.
Anna, this has just been great. I'm going to wrap up the conversation by asking, what does the quartet hope that the recording will accomplish? Like, does the quartet have a goal for the CD, or what does the quartet hope that the CD will accomplish?
We hope to reach as many people as we can, just to say that we are Ukrainians. We want to present Ukrainian culture around the world. This is what we fight for our freedom, and our culture is a big part of Ukrainian nation. You know, our language, culture. What else can we fight for? So we have beautiful music, beautiful paintings. We'd love people to get to know more about Ukrainian from this side.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing. Anna, again, this has just been fantastic meeting you and talking about the Vivere Quartet CD, Prayer for Ukraine. I hope it raises lots of money and helps continue to keep the Ukraine situation front and center for those of us here in the West. All the best. Stay safe. And thanks so much for taking the time
for
to
your time. Thanks.
talk to me today. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Bye-bye.